Turkey will pay a heavy price. Very, very heavy price. That's what Scott Ritter has said in this video. I'll actually make some commentary on what he said. But before I do that, just want to share with you some other news. Iran joined this battle, and they have said, you miscalculated. Means the rebels, you guys have miscalculated. And they are now joined by the Iranian force and also Putin. They are backing Assad in war against pro-Turkey rebels. The battle for Aleppo intensifies as rebels capture strategic areas, forcing Syrian President Assad to rally support from Iran, Russia, and regional allies. Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi blamed the US and Israel. So his target of blame is just US and Israel, not Turkey. I don't know why he doesn't mention the name Turkey. Is he afraid that he doesn't want to ruin the relationship Iran has with Turkey? I don't know. But recently Turkey backed Iranian action against Israel heavily. They openly said, in fact, Turkish ambassador in Iran, to go after the Zionist state, and Turkey will help Iran in any way possible. Now, this is going to be escalating instability in the Middle East, as we know, this recent emergence of these rebels. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu affirmed Israel's commitment to safeguarding its interest while closely monitoring Syria-Russian airstrikes have escalated the violence as the conflict spills into new territories. Then we also have some other news about the Houthis. The Houthis, what they're doing right now is they have 17 missiles sink 4 ships. Houthis strike U.S. warship, oil tanker, container ships in Arabian Sea. Houthi rebels have escalated their campaign with a terrifying strike in the Arabian Sea. Now, this is coming as a very surprise to me because recently we have seen U.S. and U.K. carrying out strikes against the Houthis in Yemen. Nevertheless, they are not relenting in terms of attacking those ships going to or from Israel to any country, if not Israel. But if it is an Israeli tank, if it is a U.S. ship, tanker, or UK, they will target. A relentless barrage of 17 missiles has hit UK-linked ships, US-linked ships, including a warship and oil tankers. So again, Houthis are becoming a big problem, a big headache for the United States. Now that they have reached a ceasefire deal with Hezbollah, a lot of people anticipated that Houthis will stop attacking these ships. But guess what? They are not. In fact, they said, we will not stop until you guys stop in Gaza, the onslaught, the genocide going on in Gaza. We'll talk more about that maybe in the future videos as to how Houthis are reacting as the ceasefire deal between Hezbollah and the Zionist ITF. But let's take a listen at what Scott Ritter he's saying about Turkey, and I'll make some comments at the same time.
Well, I mean, I'll start off as I always do by pointing out that I am looking at this long distance based on fragmentary reports that come in from sources that in the real world I wouldn't use. I'd like to have eyes on target and things of that nature, but we have what we have. And so what happens is you have to filter this through I guess past experience, history, etc., to try and come up with an assessment of what's going on. It appears that this offensive is something that has been in the planning for some time now. These forces are well trained, well equipped. They're operating off of a well thought out game plan, and it's something that's clearly been rehearsed. There are reports that they had sleeper cells inside Aleppo that were able to emerge and help sow confusion. The Israeli activization of exploding pagers implies that Israel was factored into this effort. This couldn't have happened without Turkish, not just Turkish permission and support, but Turkish participation. Many reports from prisoner interrogations, which always have to be taken with a grain of salt, but backed up with some other evidence, clearly shows that the Turkish military was involved in planning and executing this operation. They made extensive use of drones, according to the reports. Ukrainian operatives were involved in the training of this, so Ukraine was involved in this as well. And
I just want to make a comment about Turkey and Ukraine. Since the war started between Ukraine and Russia, Turkey did supply heavy load of drones to Ukraine. But for the last several months, I would say even now more than a year, Turkey has distanced itself from Ukraine, supplying them any weapon, because Putin told Turkey not to do that, Erdogan. And also the Ukrainian, they are now getting good at using drone technology, because thanks to Turkish export to their country, knowing a lot about how to operate drones. And this is why you see Ukraine, they are comfortable using drones and maybe short-range missiles when it comes to attacking Russia than using long-range missiles, especially if it is given by US, the ATACMS, the Storm Shadow missile. Ukraine doesn't have any experience with those kind of sophisticated technology when it comes to ballistic long-range missiles. But because of Turkey's support and helping them with new drone technology and exporting them and making a lot of money, millions and billions of dollars, they have a good idea as to how to operate these drones. And now they are giving this skill, or if you like, teaching this skill to rebels in Syria, according to what Scott Ritter is saying. What I'm trying to get you at is this war the battle in Syria will be very much similar to what we have seen war or battle somewhere else, i.e. Ukraine and Russia, or even Hezbollah and Israel.
I think what we're looking at here is something that this was no accident. This wasn't just a spur of the moment decision. According to the reports, this coordinated effort was supposed to take place in March. But that it was accelerated because of the developments that took place in Lebanon, in particular, the Israeli conflict with Hezbollah and a ceasefire that was signed. I think there was a feeling, this is again just my assessment, that when you looked at all the factors that normally contributed to a strong and resilient Syrian army, a military government, almost all of them were dormant. Russia, which had, of course, intervened decisively in 2015, stabilized the situation for Bashar al-Assad, had kept a residual force in Syria, but it wasn't as robust as it once was. And I guess the feeling was that because Russia was bogged down, and bogged down are quotation marks.
I think when it comes to defending, Syria from this kind of rebel attack, Assad made a very, very sloppy, he did a very, very sloppy job in terms of protecting the country from falling into the hands of the rebels. And the rebels, they realized it. And a lot of the time you see this kind of battle or war taking place because there is a vacuum of security, safety, and government presence and government influence. The reason Bashar al-Assad, he was so relaxed about all of these things before it all played out, the rebel attack I'm talking about, is because he was really not too worried to focus on bringing all of these areas, these territories, under his dominance or control. Because number one, this Bashar al-Assad regime doesn't have that kind of money to spend or invest in terms of gathering intelligence or putting foot on the ground or boot on the ground. Therefore, Assad wanted something that is very convenient for him, knowing that if he does get attacked Iran and Russia will come to his rescue. At the same time, as I have mentioned in my other videos, Bashar al-Assad, he wants to also create a good relationship with Israel, and a lot of you have disagreed with me on that. No problem. I don't want Bashar al-Assad to be in power. I want to make that absolutely clear. But I do believe that this timing of these rebels supported by Turkey attacking Bashar al-Assad is not the good one. The timing was off limit. They should have waited, or at least there should have been other ways to deal with this situation, because right now Hezbollah, as we know, Iran, all of these people, they're fighting against the Zionist state that is committing genocide in Gaza. So the timing is really bad for these rebels. But in the future, again, as I said, if they want to get rid of Bashar al-Assad, Iran wants to replace him, and I think that Iran will think about replacing Bashar al-Assad because of this failure, this particular failure in Aleppo, in Idlib, where they were shelling for really no reason. These residents, they were terrified because of the Assad army forces shelling for no reason again. So he failed in so many ways. But again, Erdogan unleashing these people on Bashar al-Assad, the timing is the biggest problem here.
In Ukraine, that Russia would not be able to respond decisively in favor of Syria. The Syrian army itself had gone through a demobilization because of the political guarantees that had been made in Astana a few years back between Russia, Iran, Turkey regarding the situation in Syria and the stabilization of what was going on in Idlib, where this al-Nusra Front derivative is based out of, along with the Syrian National Army and some other elements. Hezbollah, which played a very important role in the stabilization of Syria and in the Syrian counteroffensives, of course, now is bogged down inside Lebanon, and Iran was likewise focused on what was going on with Israel. And also keep in mind that Iran also has problems brewing up north with Azerbaijan, and Iranian military resources have been diverted up there. Iran has another problem, along its border with Pakistan and Afghanistan. So the feeling was that Iran was not going to be in a position to be able to decisively intervene. And so,
well, the main reason why Turkey did not cooperate with Iran when it comes to attacking the Zionist state, or that why Erdogan kept his distance from Iran and also from Russia for that matter over the Zionist state to have a collective force, is because of the Azerbaijani and Armenian issue. Erdogan supports Azerbaijan. Iran has big problem with that. Iran supports the Armenian. If that issue was not an issue, then we would have seen Turkey and Iran, they would have come together to respond to Zionists. I'm not saying that Turkey will be like, oh, we are going against the Israeli, we're going to kill them all, or we're going to support Iran openly. No, but they could have collaborated a lot more. And Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, when he came to Turkey after this rebel attack, he actually had a very, very softer stand on Turkey's position regarding this whole thing. So again, these countries, they're being held back by so many issues. The situation is very, very complex. But again, as I said, Turkey should have waited, or these rebels should have been contained by Turkey, especially at this time, and not let them attack Bashar al-Assad.
So you strike while the iron is hot, and that appears to be what they have done. And they achieved a surprise. And with that surprise, in many ways, it reminded me what happened when Ukraine attacked the Russian forces in Kharkov in the late summer, early fall of 2022, exploiting thinly held lines, being able to penetrate deeply with light armored forces, cut off roadways, etc., and generate confusion, prompting a retreat. And this appears to be the case. There are Syrian casualties. I can't say exactly how many. It looks like many people have been taken prisoner, but it also looks as if large quantities of the Syrian army were able to withdraw from Aleppo in decent order, and fall back on prepared positions. Reserves have been mobilized relatively quickly. The 4th Armored Division and I think the Tiger Force have been brought up. And the Russian Air Force, I don't know what people thought was going to happen, but it has come to life, and it is blowing the living crap out of the HTS, out of the al-Nusra people in Idlib, along with the Syrian Air Force. Hezbollah is engaged, and Iran is engaged, sending its own forces and mobilizing Iraqi.
Okay, so on this issue, I do differ with Scott Ritter. He said Russia is attacking the rebels in Idlib. That is not true. Russia is actually attacking civilian areas too. And we have footage captured on GoPros coming directly from Idlib. Russian missiles struck civilian areas and they have killed dozens of them. So Russia, no. And it is quite impossible for any country, for that matter, to not have a collateral damage. The way Scott Ritter is saying is it is as if Russia knew all of these rebel strongholds. They knew all of it. They had so good intelligence. They don't. They did not have any intelligence. So now they are bombing Idlib, and a lot of these people are getting killed.
Iranian militias to coming in. The situation is stable. I would say right now, I would say that the gambit has failed, that there's a lot of heavy fighting left ahead. But I think the loser in all of this is Turkey, who will never again be trusted through the Astana process. You can't just write Turkey off, but Turkey is a regional player, so they will be a part of any negotiation. But the day of a trusting handshake and a knowing nod is over. Erdogan can never be trusted again by anybody, and
it's only going to help the Zionists. It's only going to help the West to commit more genocide elsewhere. When you create a crack in the coalition, because Turkey was pro-NATO, and still Turkey is a part of NATO. They are pro-Western, but at the same time, they were at least willing to enter into BRICS, work with Russia, with China and Iran. But I think that those days are over, as Scott Ritter is saying, and I agree with that. Nobody will trust Erdogan anymore, especially when it comes to Syria. It was a big mistake. The unity will be broken and has been broken.
This will make, whatever. I think that there will be more inclination on the part of the parties involved to finish this fight this time, as opposed to rely on some sort of diplomatic off-ramp. But that's speculation, because again, Russia is in the end-game phase of Ukraine, facing difficulties with NATO and the United States. They have Trump coming in. That Trump administration on January 20th is a huge wild card, because a lot of people, a lot of nations aren't willing to do things that are precipitous at this point in time, opting to hold off. To give you an example, Iran has said that it's not going to strike Israel until, and they're going to let Trump come in and see what happens. You hear a lot of language out of Putin about, softening Trump up.
Well, we know what Trump will do, and he already made it clear. If you have not heard, he just made a statement saying that we are going to be killing all of Gaza because of those 100 hostages being held by Hamas. And he made it absolutely clear that you guys are waiting for the worst to come. If you do not release those hostages, Trump did not talk about stopping this genocide in Gaza. He did not talk about a ceasefire with Hamas. No, none of those things. He wants those 100 people out of Gaza back to Israel. If not, then he said, I'm going to be doing worse. And a lot of the time he uses this kind of rhetoric where we see him saying, you have never seen something like this ever in history. We will bomb you the way you have never seen ever in history. So what is going to happen in Gaza under Trump, we already know. And that is genocide, maybe the next level of genocide and atrocities and cruelty. But again, we will see. I have to wait and see what Trump does. But can he solve these problems? Well, he can, by bombing everybody. So this guy, I don't know what he will do, but we'll find out. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the session. I'll see you in the next video.